Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this 15 Minutes With, our part of our series where we're talking with folks in HR and human resources, and they're sharing with us some of their thoughts and ideas. And today we are very lucky to have with us Lisa Mungovan, who is going to talk about developing your job search strategy. Lisa and I have known each other on and off for probably a decade through both of us with our work with the Northeast Indiana Human Resource Association, NIRA. And she's a wealth of knowledge and great ideas. And so, Lisa, take it away.
Okay, well, thank you first for the invitation. I really appreciate it. I really like working with people who are looking for jobs and in our opportunity, especially in our region, because there's the Talent Initiative and the Road to 1 million, excuse me. And so, our goal is to bring talent to this area and retain it. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But I want to talk, my background, I've been in human resources for many years. Started at Lincoln National Life, worked at Navistar, to a company called Poly High Solidor, and also worked at Work One in the Northeast Indiana Works was the organization that I worked with that had oversight of Work Ones. And then when I left that opportunity, I decided to start my own business to service small businesses who really don't need a full-time HR person, but they need to make sure they're following the rules and are compliant. So I've met so many very interesting people through that process, and also, have worked with people who are looking for jobs. So I'm hoping what I have to share is helpful for all of you.
We know it will be.
Okay, I'm going to go to the next slide.
Are you seeing it?
I am not.
Effects of supply and demand.
Okay, got it. I'm going to switch something here. There we go. I want to talk, especially with everything going on right now with COVID, the effects of supply and demand changes throughout when things are happening. And so when there is a low supply of candidates, but a high demand, wages are affected. Companies who really need someone may be willing to pay relocation benefits, which is somewhat of a rare situation right now. Some cases, job opportunities may be a temp to direct or a temporary only, which is still an opportunity to learn some skills, as well as internships have been kind of ebbing and flowing. In our area right now, as well as the rest of the country, we have a lot of challenges with making sure that we have enough skilled labor, which is going to affect all of us as consumers. Prices are going to go up when we need a plumber, a welder, bricklayers, et cetera, because those individuals are now retiring out of that work group, and people were not pursuing opportunities in those particular fields. Healthcare, definitely right now with everything that's going on with COVID. Nurses have always been a high demand, but now respiratory therapists and other types of healthcare resources that we're going to need for those who are recuperating, but also then going forward, there may be individuals in that particular field that decide they want to be out of it because of the lengthy hours that they're working and the types of things that they're experiencing. But IT is going to continue to grow. Logistics, in Indiana, we're a large logistics and manufacturing focus. Quality will always be there, as well as engineering. And then accounting, HR, those are the support fields that are also important. So I'm going to talk about sourcing opportunities, and I want to talk to you about this from an employer perspective as well as for you as a candidate. There are opportunities for employers that I speak with our small employers because they have limited budgets. So I encourage them to advertise in our career service departments at our colleges and universities. Many of them don't think about that as a resource, and it is. For Northeast Indiana, a new website was created, I think about a year ago. It's called northeastindiana.com, neindiana.com. Employers can advertise for free on that, and candidates can go in and look for job opportunities in the Northeast Indiana area. Indiana has a resource called Indiana Career Connect, and in Indiana Career Connect, you can look for jobs, create a profile. Individuals who are drawing unemployment have to have a profile on Indiana Career Connect. The Work One offices, when they open again, will have resources that can help you learn more about the Indiana Career Connect website, again, free for employers as well as candidates. Then there are those that employers have to pay subscriptions for, and when they have a limited budget, again, they have to manage how many that they actually advertise on these sites. So when you see job opportunities on Glassdoor and ZipRecruiter and all of those other places, those are places where that employer has decided to advertise. The employers over the last year have gotten very creative with their job search process. In some cases, they're actually just putting just a blurb out on Facebook to try to reach out to potential candidates. LinkedIn has a job site that an employer has to pay for, but there's no set place now. What it used to be was a newspaper, and you advertised in a newspaper, and now all of these electronic versions reach different demographics. And I'm going to mention Ladders. Ladders is a very high wage, high expertise type place that you can actually pay to actually put your resume for, to then seek out job opportunities. There are ways that you don't have to pay a premium in order to just get some limited opportunities. But for those of you who may be graduate students or have experience plus that degree, that may be one that's you haven't heard of before. There's advertising that employers will do, sometimes on radio, sometimes on TV. There is the job of the week that is posted on Channel 21, I believe, with the Work One office. They'll post one job. It's at lunchtime. You can go to their website and take a look at it. It's only one type, but I've also mentioned church bulletins and different websites because there may be an employer that has found that these other subscriptions have not gotten what they're looking for candidate-wise, especially for a specific culture. And so they may put a blurb in a church bulletin to the congregation to see if anybody is either interested or maybe knows someone. And then the recruiting and staffing services. So if an employer decides to go to a recruiting company, they pay a fee to have someone placed. Some of them are on retainer, where the employer has to pay an amount for them just to even do the search. And some of them are only fee-based once the person gets placed. That's an additional cost to an employer on top of an annual wage that you as a candidate may get. And some employers, especially the larger ones, are quick to do that. We have good, credible recruiters in this area as well as nationally. But there are some recruiters that will do the paper pushing, as I describe it, where they will go out and find your resume on a site like LinkedIn, your profile, actually present you as a candidate without you knowing about it, and then come back to you to say, hey, I have an employer that's really interested in you. So you want to be cautious, ask a lot of questions as to how they heard of you, what type of candidate, what type of job it is, etc. Understand the process. There's also types of social media opportunities. Of course, you all know about Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc. There are a lot of professional organizations. So depending on what your background will be, you know, SAE is the Society of Automotive Engineers. ASQ is the American Society for Quality. So there's different professional organizations that you may not have heard of that I encourage you to consider. NIRA, Cindy mentioned that earlier, is the Northeast Indiana Human Resource Association. We have a job posting site for our members to actually post jobs there. The FEI is the Financial Executives International, you know, opportunities for accountants and people in finance. But let's go down to the professional and social networks. So here in our area, some of them that local chambers, number one, there's a chamber, if not more than one in each county, that they may have job opportunities posted by their members. There are some faith-based networks. First Fridays meets, usually the first Friday of every month, and they've kind of grown some of that through the virtual process, but it's a way to network. The Lean Network is an organization that meets, it's hosted by Purdue, but it meets the second Thursday of the month, and right now it's virtual too, but everybody that is in that network, no cost to be in the network, is focused on Lean, Six Sigma, all of those types of things. The NIC is the Northeast Indiana Innovation Center. The WEOC is the Women's Entrepreneurial Opportunities Center. Those are opportunities if you're considering going into business. That's one of several resources in our area. But I highlighted volunteering because I spoke with a young lady who had just been downsized 3 weeks ago, and 1 year out of college. And, you know, we were talking about job search, and I said, have you considered volunteering and using your skills to help a nonprofit organization while you're looking? And she hadn't. And so she actually volunteered at 3 separate organizations, met people she had never met before, has found a job, not with one of those organizations, but with a different company. But now she knows about those organizations and has used her skills to be able to help them with, what they had as a business need. So volunteering is important. Consider doing something that you're passionate about, or like she did, she not only looked at it for passion, but also for her skills and identified how she could help somebody. For people with intellectual and physical disabilities, NYRA has an initiative to focus our members on helping find opportunities for individuals in this group. This is just a short list of resources. We have created a list of inclusive hiring for our members. Cindy can get you a copy, or I can get you a copy of that. They're all focused on making sure people with intellectual and physical disabilities connect with employers. We also have veterans and transitioning veterans that we're recruiting and getting back to this area, or already here, excuse me. There's a Hoosier Home Base initiative for Northeast Indiana. It's on the Northeast Indiana Regional Partnership. It's a website, but you can go just Google Hoosier Home Base. Our focus is to recruit, hire, and retain transitioning military as well as their families. The VA of Northeast Indiana, they have employment specialists. USA Jobs is a national site, but Work One Northeast has local veterans employment reps that work with our employers in order to source job opportunities for veterans and their families as well. I'm also connected to 2 military recruiters that I've used in the past when I was in private industry that help source job opportunities with local employers. So there's opportunities if you're in either or both of those groups. So let's talk about applicant tracking systems. What used to be in place was a person like myself received a hard copy resume, and we looked at it, scanned it, and looked for things that were important to what we were looking for, both qualifications as well as skills. That took maybe a minute or so, depending on how long the resume is. The applicant tracking systems take less than a second in order to pre-screen the resumes, and they're looking for keywords. And so it's important that you take your resume and check it against every job that you apply for. And if you see that there is a word that they used instead of what you have as a skill, but it means the same thing, you need to change it in order to get through the applicant tracking system. Your resume is a tool to get an interview. And so you need to make sure you're following and organizing yourself so that you can get through this applicant tracking system. You as a candidate don't know if they use them. You don't know if they've set their filter at a certain percent. You don't know if they added extra words that mean the same thing so that it pre-screens the resumes in more detail. So you have to be as proactive as possible when you're creating that. But as I said, if a hiring manager or an HR professional physically reviews the resumes, the difference in the process is judgment. I can look at a resume and see that if they have A, B, and C, but they're missing C, D, and F, D, E, and F, they probably have it, but they just didn't include it in the resume. And we see that a lot. People miss things on their resume. But my judgment knows that if they already have these skills, it's more likely that they have these as well. And so I'm going to bring them in, where an applicant tracking system does not do that. It strictly matches the words. And if the system is set up at, for example, an 85% filter rate, 85% of the words that are in that job description or ad need to match what that resume is. And if you're not at 85%, your resume gets pushed aside. So keep that in mind as you're applying for different jobs, to make sure that you're adapting your resume so it's specific. Do not lie about your skills. If you do not have the skills that they are asking for, do not add that to your resume. I've seen candidates that we've run into, and after the interview process was complete, or even during it, we could tell that the person didn't have the skills. So it's not worth lying or misrepresenting your skills in any way. So this is an example of keywords. For example, procurement and purchasing mean the same thing, but they're spelled differently. The same with MS Word and Microsoft Word. Now the word is the same, but MS and Microsoft are different. That could mean the difference between you getting asked to be interviewed. Management and leadership are different. Effective communications and active listener. And the mechanical engineer and an ME, they're different. And so if the HR person or the hiring manager didn't go in and adjust their advanced search, again, you're relying on that system to make sure that you get through to get that interview. The next screen shows an example of it for an advanced one, but the color coding isn't what happens, but I wanted to at least be able to show you an example of how this works. So in this case, it shows 5 different categories: analysis, projects, tech, retail, and Zappos. On the right side, it shows an overall score of 23.5. They've probably established what a score has to be for them to invite somebody in for an interview. It counts density, but it also counts your words. So in this case, they added additional words that mean analysis. They added additional words that mean technology. And so I just color coded these so that you could see how they match. And that's what an automated system will do, is it will go through and check for that. And then if you get a certain score, then your resume then gets referred on to the hiring team, and then they'll consider you. The other resumes get put in a place where they get a decline if, hopefully they do. The small businesses that I work with, I'm teaching them how to use software like Indeed to acknowledge that the resume was received, as well as when they've made a decision, a thank you goes out. They didn't know they have those things available on Indeed. Many businesses don't. As a job applicant or job seeker, you may feel like your resume is going into a black hole, and it's not. But unfortunately, the systems aren't getting you that courtesy communication that says they at least received it, and then secondly, are you even being considered? So this is an example of an Indeed search, and I'm going to show you on the next slide, but I wanted to point this out. When you go in and you create searches and you put in what the title is and the city and state, I just put in human resources, and now they're all coming up. It's so much better that they come up and ask you if you want to get an actual search email when other like jobs come up. And so you put in your email and it will activate that for free. In your particular case, and what I'm showing here is just human resources, but if I had just typed in the letters HR, that's different from human resources. An employer may advertise an HR generalist. It may not recognize human resources, although in common sense terms it should, but they don't always do that. So you may have multiple searches that you're going to create, and I encourage you to do that with different titles, and I'm going to show you that here in a minute. ONET is a national website. It is populated by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and there is a Bureau of Labor Statistics website. This is just more user-friendly, and when we're done going through the slides, I'm going to show you how to use this. But on this particular one, this is the first page. You can do find occupations, where you can look up different occupations. You can do advanced searches with different categories. For any of you that are veterans, on the crosswalks, that is a tool that it will give you civilian words that mean the same thing as your military job skills and experience, so that you can create a resume that's in civilian words rather than military words. Again, back to keyword searches. The jobs that are posted are not written in military terms. Unless it is a military job, they're written in civilian words. So it's important that you transition and create words, the resumes with the civilian words. The Hoosiers by the Numbers is a website that for the state of Indiana. I'm going to go over this very briefly with you because this is a way for you to get wage data. And so when you're negotiating wages for a particular job here in Indiana, it'll at least give you something to go by, so that your response can be, well, based on my research, you know, the pay for this particular range is between this, and this is what the experienced person gets. So you have something rather than just going off the cuff. Be cautious with the Glassdoor estimated wages that show on their website. Those are based on the people who have responded to their surveys, maybe a very small pool of people. To the best of my knowledge, they're not pulling data from any place else. And so just be cautious with using that when you're actually applying for jobs. I've seen people not apply because they thought the wage was too low. I've seen other people that, you know, went in thinking that that's what they were going to make. And unfortunately, that is not what they were going to make based on their experience and their schooling. So we'll walk through this very briefly in a minute. So some tips. This has an HR person, as well as for people that when I've taught them when they've been job eliminated and they're going through some things, make sure your phone number is a working number and your voicemail is set up. If an employer contacts you and is trying to reach you and gets your voicemail and it's not set up, that could be a lost opportunity. And it might be the company that you really wanted to work for. So make sure your voicemail is set up. Make sure it's professional. Make sure it's your name. So, hi, this is Lisa Mungovan, so that we know we got the right phone and the right person. Versus, hi, this is just Lisa. Well, again, it just assures the employer that they've reached the right person. You want to make sure you speak clearly, don't have a lot of background noise, music, TV, barking dogs, anything. It needs to be as clear as possible. Your email needs to be some version of your name. I encourage job seekers to create a separate email for their job search, so that when they're done with their job search, they can turn it off and have their personal email for other types of things. That's your choice. Your LinkedIn profile needs to match your resume. I was speaking with a recruiter yesterday and asked her for some ideas, and she said that's one, that if the profile says that they only want to work in this industry or this type of a job, and their resume says open to all of these different things, employers look. And so you want to make sure that your profile is not specific to a specific industry. Your resume can change off and on depending on the jobs that you apply for. Spelling, grammar, and punctuation errors is a big one. People get in such a hurry when they're filling out online applications. You need to take the time, set aside the time to fill the application out. If you're not real good at punctuation and spelling, etc., have someone that is look at your resume so that you make sure you have that. You want to avoid using personal pronouns on your resume. And I see an error right there on mine. But you want to make sure the cover letter is okay to say I, but your resume should be very specifically, very general. Your cover letter needs to focus on the employer, not you. And so you need to put yourself in the employer's seat and identify what might be important to you as that employer. And so then when you create that cover letter, you want to focus on what might those things be that the employer are looking for. Good ways to find out are people that work there. Maybe you already know someone that works there. Check out their website, see what their mission statement is, find out what's important about their product lines. If for some reason you've bought their products in the past, make mention of that. But again, why should the employer hire you over somebody else? Why should they interview you over someone else? If you really want to work for them, why? And explain that in short, succinct ways. Limit irrelevant information. Definitely don't put any personal information. I'm hearing more and more that on resumes, you do not put your personal address. It's fine just to put your email address, your cell phone number, and your LinkedIn profile if you have one. I have heard that more for females than males, but I don't think it's that irrelevant. And cell numbers, now it's come to, everybody accepts the fact that it may not be the exact same area code of the city that you're applying for, but if you are going to be applying for job opportunities in other cities, it's okay to have a 260 if that's what it is, or whatever another. Spell out abbreviations that are not common to other industries. I talked with an individual who was in food quality, and the abbreviations or the acronyms for those were different than what I thought they meant. And he was applying for non-food industry job opportunities. So we had him spell them out. Made the resume a little bit longer, but it helped not create any additional questions or biases or misperceptions. We'll talk about the multiple titles here in a minute. Don't apply if you're not serious about the opportunity. HR people are busy, and just for someone thinking that they need to come in and practice interviewing is not the reason why you want to apply for a job, especially right now. We have a number of people that likely are not going to have jobs as things are going through the process. We've got individuals that may not want to go back to work at the place that they used to work for. And so the number of candidates that are available are going to grow, which is good in that we had a lot of job opportunities prior to all of this happening, but we don't know that those job opportunities will exist either. And informational interviews, that is how I've actually landed most of my jobs in my career. I've reached out to an individual to find out about the company. Now, granted, internet wasn't always available, but if that wasn't a good place for me to work, then I went ahead and asked for, if you know of another place that may be able to use my skills and experience, would you keep me in mind? And I got leads that way through people that, you know, knew I was looking, knew what my background was, and they connected me to job leads. I myself get a lot of job leads for HR positions that I'm not looking for, and so I turn around and forward those on to other opportunities or other candidates that, you know, may be interested in those jobs. So you too, if you hear of a job opportunity that you're not interested in, but you know of another student who might be looking for that, then, you know, forward that on.
Hi, Lisa, thank you for the prayer
I'm sorry.
line. Let's see. First,
Okay, sorry. Any questions at this point, or can I go ahead and go over the websites?
Nope, no questions quite yet. Go ahead.
Okay.
Let me make sure you can, well, go ahead and see if we can see your screen.
Okay.
Because right now I'm sharing.
Okay. It's got host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Let me see here. Okay. I made you a co-host.
Okay. There we go. Bear with me here.
I stopped sharing so that you can share.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to a point where, let me go down here. Bear with us, everyone. Oh, there we go. Now I got what I'm looking for. Okay, let's look at ONET real quick. You're able to see that?
Yes.
Can you see the ONET?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the screen that I was looking at. I'm just going to do some real quick examples. Everybody knows what a DJ is. They entertain, etc. So every job that's on ONET has a job number assigned to each one of them. So each one of these has a job number. Each one of them has a hyperlink. And when you go into the hyperlink, it provides you a general description of that job, as well as other titles that other companies may have used relating to that, okay? So with that, it also gives you tasks, technology, skills, knowledge, etc. And these are 5 that are displayed. You can hit the plus and it can give you several others. I can create a resume in 10 minutes with this tool. I can copy and paste these, put them on a resume, and have the person's resume created. So you can go in for jobs that you might be looking at and see there might be some examples or statements of what it is that you have as experience or what you've done, and copy those and put those on your resume if you wanted to. So let's go back though. And if I type in disc jockey, now all of a sudden I get several. And so the first 3 that were on there were already on there, but now it gives me athletes and sports competitors. Well, that's not what we know as what a disc jockey does, but jockeys and people who throw discs are athletes and sports competitors. So you're going to get several ones that may not be ones that are even relevant that make sense to you, but it has a word or something with that particular thing. The reason I show this example is there's other numbers, as I said. The lowest number is 11 on the ONET and Bureau of Labor Statistics. The highest number is 53. So there's jobs that are categorized in manufacturing, there's jobs that are categorized in logistics, but here it shows a bright outlook job or a green job. Bright outlook means in the United States, not in Northeast Indiana or wherever the community is that you may be looking. The green used to be, when the government first identified green, was only those companies that were actually manufacturing something, LED light bulbs, etc. Now they expanded that description, and in this particular case, heavy and tractor trailer truck drivers are not only transporting green products, but they're also affected because of emissions, etc. So that's how this works. So if we were to look at here and we were to go in and look up human resources, for example, okay, I have the 11 is the lowest, so those are management jobs. Then they go into specialists. There's industrial organizational psychologists, social and human service assistants, which are not human resources, but it has the word in there. Anthropologists, you know, health executives. So there's a lot of different ones, but the reason I bring this up too is just as an example, look at all the different titles for human resources. And this doesn't even include all of them. I mean, there's now talent acquisition as well as recruiters. Same job, 2 different titles. There's vice president of people. There's HR business partner. There's human resources business partner. So when you go in and do those searches on Indeed, Glassdoor, any of the ones that you're going to do them on, create a different search for every different title. 2 other ones that you might want to also consider are project manager, project, whatever, even just use the word project, as well as team, use the word team, because you may find that you have other job leads that come up that way that may not have been included in the title that you used before. So that's ONET, and that website is, it looks like onetonline.org. So it's onetonline.org. And so that's that one. So let's look at Hoosiers by the Numbers. So Hoosiers by the Numbers, as I said, is a website that can give you wage data. And I can send Cindy the step-by-step instructions on what I'm going to go through right now. I'm going to do this very quickly. There's a publication lookup. You can look up unemployment information and all kinds of things. This will give you the state of Indiana. In my case, I'm going to look at Economic Growth Region 3, which is Northeast Indiana. Fort Wayne, Indiana is also listed on here. The Fort Wayne metro area is the metropolitan statistic area, which is Whitley County, Allen County, and Wells County. But we're going to look at Northeast Indiana. When you click it, it will highlight. There's several different types of reports that are available if you wanted them. You can get real-time job data, one level up, et cetera, et cetera. This is one that will at least show you more of what I'm talking about on ONET. The last time this was updated was 2018. I'm not sure why it's taking so long for them to update this, but 2018. So on this report, it's going to give you data, and it always starts at the lowest ONET number. So here's your 11s, your management occupations, gives all the different ONET numbers that you may have seen out on ONET. It gives the estimated employment back in 2018, average annual wage, and then it goes from 10th percentile to 90th percentile. So again, if you're trying to negotiate a wage for a job opportunity, and you, for example, wanted to be a purchasing manager or applying for a purchasing manager, the average for Northeast Indiana is $95,793. The low end is $55,762. The high end is $142,204. These numbers are influenced a lot by manufacturing because we have such a high population in that particular thing. So if you were applying for a job in purchasing in a service industry, the wages would be lower than what are reflected in here. They try to, but they're not separated by industry. It's everything aggregate for the whole region. And this particular website is Hoosier Data. HoosierData.in.gov. You can go to the in.gov website and find it. And they may have some additional ones, but this is so it's HoosierData.in.gov. And then one of the things that I had mentioned on the type places you can find jobs is Indiana Career Connect. You could create a profile. This would be the only one I would suggest you put your resume on. I do not recommend you put your resume on any other website. When you apply for the job, make sure that you check with the employer's website to see if the job is really open. Because some of the sites grab them and pull them on to advertise them, and the job's been filled for months. But on Indiana Career Connect, you can find jobs. Employers can post jobs for free. It's not the only place that employers will advertise, but if a company is a contractor of the government and has at least $50,000 in federal contracts, they are obligated to advertise on Indiana Career Connect. They have to. It doesn't mean they have to consider every person that applies for the job, but they are required by law because the Work One offices receive state funding, which originally comes from the federal government. So Anybody that has, any company that has at least $50,000 in government contracts have to be able to, they have to advertise on this particular site. Okay, Cindy, let me figure out how to go back to where you're at. Here we are. Okay, and then that's my contact information. Feel free to send me any emails if you've would like some additional information, but we can answer questions if the two of you have any questions.
Any questions? Lisa, that was great. Thank you so much for sharing all that great information. I had my computer, my microphone on mute, but I was giggling through very much through several of your points, because it's kind of like, I feel like we're momming sometimes, and you're the friend who said the same thing that mom's been saying, you know, particularly about resumes. And when you're applying for a job, we always tell students, you can work on your resume all you want, but until you really have a job to apply for, it really doesn't do you any good, because it really does need to be tailored for the job that you're applying for. So I was getting a good
Absolutely.
out of that one. So we always tell students, if you want, you can always send us your resume and your cover letter that you've worked on for a job you're applying for, and send us the link to that job, and we'll review and see, have those keywords really been brought out? Do you look qualified for the job? That kind of thing. Too many times students send me their resume and I'll say, well, I don't think you're qualified for this job. You don't have X, Y, Z. And then they'll turn around and say, well, oh yeah, I have that. I'll just tell them about it in the interview. Which of course we know they're not going to get the interview if that's not in there, you know. So, but again, thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you for sharing. Students, if you need any help, you have questions, whatnot, please do contact us, Career Center at indianatech.edu, or visit us in our virtual front desk, where you can talk live to a staff member. That information is also on our career site, careercenter.indianatech.edu. Thanks again, Lisa.
My pleasure.